If they can answer that question, then we have a very clear idea about what their goals are. They may be thinking, I have no clients at all. Maybe I have a better quality of client. Maybe I'm trying to brush into a market that I haven't been able to penetrate. Maybe there's something that's bigger than that. And then the way I'm wired, I'm constantly trying to convert that into kind of digital speak and figure out, what can I quantify? How do I break that down into a whole series of steps that lead toward that goal? And the other thing is the client's telling us, okay, this is what we're going to judge you on. So it's a lot easier for us to get in and do the right things right away than to say, well, here's our menu and we're just going to start stabbing away at all this stuff. We get a lot closer to the right outcome sooner.
Hey guys, welcome back. This is Mike Wood with Be What Works Weekly, and I'm going to change up the intro because usually I just give a name and then I say, what do you do? But I'm going to give you a little bit of a setup here. I've got Joe Ross and I've got Jill Rutherford, and they're with OCG Creative. They're actually in Reno. Jill and I have known each other for a good long while, and we ran into each other a few weeks back. And Jill and Joe help companies do exactly what I think people in the entrepreneurial space, particularly real estate and lending, need, which is they help companies share their brand. So without further ado, Jill, what in the world is branding for somebody that runs a small business like myself, but has never been told you need to create a brand?
So as a business, your brand is what do you want people to see?
Mm.
So one of the questions I ask businesses a lot once they get up and running is like, what does your business look like when you're not there to represent it, right? If I meet you out at an event or I see you and you've got this great history and all this experience in real estate, but then I go and your business cards are perforated and your website is janky. Like what is that impression that you're leaving? So branding is about creating your business identity, what you
Mm.
look like, but tying it in to make sure all the pieces and parts look amazing so that if you're not there to represent it, people are still really impressed.
Yeah, yeah, which I totally get. How does somebody go about creating a brand? I guess is the easiest first step.
I think typically it starts with a logo. Like you
Okay.
get a business and you start with your logo. What is that brand identity? What is the look and feel? And then you're creating your collateral and your website. And once you get that brand and look, you're moving right into messaging, which is really, really key. Like we were talking right before we jumped on, your messaging can't be targeting everybody. You need to be specific. Who is it that you consider your target market or your perfect client? And
Okay.
how do you have a conversation with them through all of your marketing elements, similar to what you would say to them if you were talking to them in person?
Yeah. What are some resources that somebody, like, if I'm a real estate agent,
Mhm.
and this was our conversation before, which was I never got into this business saying I have an ideal client. I got into this business saying I want to help people buy and sell homes. So
Anybody and
somebody,
everybody, right?
right, and I don't want to exclude. I mean, I need business, so I'm willing to help everybody. And over 20 years, I've helped just about everybody. Uh, but now I'm 20 years into the business, and I'm at a stage where I could be a little bit more selective. But what I've learned is that I possess certain, because of my history, because of my specific knowledge in going through transactions, there there is a specific client for me that I tend to work best with. And if I were selling a product, I'm sure that I could define that. So how could somebody go, how could somebody figure out who their ideal, or what did you say, perfect client? How does somebody identify their perfect client?
Well,
I have a little bit
go ahead,
to
Joe, jump
Oh,
in.
get it,
I I
Joe.
I think one of the things that is helpful for people is to if you ask to say, well, who's your best client? What's your perfect client or what's your market? It's hard to define that without spreadsheets and whatever else goes with it.
Yeah.
But if you think anybody who has a job um, will have an ideal person that they like to work with. It's not just about, well, what companies or what types of people or what types of demographics are my ideal profile, but to think about, when I'm really in the groove, when I'm doing my best work and when I'm achieving the greatest result, it's almost always there's a certain personality type and there's a certain list of things that come up. And I think for a lot of people to stop worrying about what the demographics are and stop worrying about, all of that stuff that goes with that and just
Yeah.
focus in on, who am I working with when I'm doing my absolute best work? And that's usually when the company's the most profitable and everything that supports that. So I think that's a good starting point for people.
So,
And go
go
ahead.
ahead, Jill.
Well, I was just going to say if I could just kind of add on to that too. So we can add kind of some buzzwords to that. You hear people talking about be the topic authority, be authoritative. So when you are the best at what you do, like you said, you found the niche you like to work in, Mike,
Yeah.
and then you become the go-to in the field that you're in, rather than
Right.
just being, I'm a realtor, I can sell you a house, anywhere. You're the go-to in that area, and businesses that say, I'm really good at this, and these are the people I want to work with, and I'm the go-to here.
Yeah. And well, and I like what Joe said too, is if I go back, especially if you've been in the business for a while, I mean, this is a little bit more difficult for a startup, but if you go back to, hey, what clients have I worked with where it was just smooth? They listened to the advice I gave. They were responsive. They gave me the input I needed. We worked really well. I enjoyed that client. And it's probably more than one. It's probably a few. And then collectively, what I don't even know if traits is the right word, but what did they have in common? Where could I find more of them? We end up doing it by saying, hey, so my business keeps a list of these are the top 25, ultimately the top 50 of my relationships that I have that I really enjoy. So if Joe works for the company that handles my media, my advertising, and Joe and I really enjoy skeet shooting. So we go skeet shooting once a month, but we're living life together, but we're also doing business together, and he refers me people and I refer him. I mean, that to me is an ideal life right there. Is I get to deal with, I've got a really good friend that Jill's good friends with, and he's a financial advisor. He's the same way though. And he told me one time, he said, I want to build a business where I live my life with the people that build my business. And I went, oh, that's just genius.
It's perfect. And it also kind of, we target certain demographics or not certain markets, sort of certain verticals. In a few
Yeah.
weeks, we're headed off to Florida and we'll be presenting on some digital topics and things, and work at a trade show that's all in the scuba diving industry. And these are the same people that we travel with and the same people that we get to know. And it's exactly that. And if you can identify where you want it to be and what you want to be surrounded with, you tend to not be so aggressive in your interactions with people too. And you don't come out, you're not so desperate because you just want to build relationships and let those relationships flourish into something that touches your professional life as well. And I think if you can think that way, even if you're a startup and you don't even have your first client, that's if you're thinking about the relationship before the dollar. I think you're already miles ahead of a lot of individuals that you might be competing with.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you nailed it on that. I mean, that's the golden ticket right there. It's the golden ticket. And I'm a sidebar it for 2 seconds because I realize I have a friend that is really good at connections, and he's built a business around helping people make connections. And those connections serve a number of purposes. It could serve you in your own business because they can help you, but it could also be, and you guys would be a good connection for me because somebody comes to me and says, I'm struggling on branding. Okay, cool. I know exactly who to point you to, and like-minded people like to hang around like-minded people, and that those relationships foster more relationships, and then the growth comes, and the growth comes, and you no longer have to be a pushy salesperson, which is you need to use me because I'm really good. It becomes you get referred as, hey, I recognize your issue and I have a friend in the industry that can fix that issue. Let me connect the two of you. So that was, I wrote down three things. Sorry, I'm a big note taker, and I love these conversations because I'm learning as we're going along. You said three things. So relationships was the first one. I think that's the most important. The second was verticals. What does that mean in your world? When you say the word verticals, how does that apply to business?
Well, target market. Sometimes we call
Okay.
them beachheads. So, like for us, we might have the scuba industry is a vertical that we put a lot of energy into. We're
Okay.
also very overrepresented in construction and legal and dental, and there's certain markets
Yeah.
that are valuable to us, and that we kind of have we work well in, and
Yeah.
so we tend to put emphasis in those.
Well, and I think in a lot of industries, especially service-based businesses, because that's pretty much what we are. I mean, you deliver a product. I don't
Mhm.
necessarily deliver a product. I sell a product, but it's not my product. So the only thing I have, my value is my service. But I've identified a number of I call them channels, and I swim in those channels because that's what I do, and I'm really good at it. And my messaging has as of late been more aligned with, hey, if you swim in this pool, you're an ideal client for me because people in that pool tend to deal with these three issues, and I solve these three issues fairly easily. It's what I do all the time. And then people, so if you're helping clients in the scuba industry, you're probably likely to get other scuba affiliated businesses to look to you and say, hey, you did a really good job with them. I like that.
Hmm.
And could you help us also? So I love that. I like the word beachheads too. I had never heard that. So I'm going to write down and start using that. The other thing you said was discussing digital topics. So that piqued my interest also. What in the marketing branding world, what are digital topics?
Well, the obvious thing that's on everybody's mind right now is AI. And, we are a search company. We're a visibility company. Our job as in marketing and branding in general, and Jill could probably talk about this a lot, but I mean, basically our role is we look at somebody that produces something, whether it's a service or a product or something else, and then we have to leap over to the other end of that and say, well, who cares about this a whole bunch? And then if we can identify both of them, we have to figure out where the people care are and stick the other people that provide the thing in between them. And then
Right.
once they see each other, like, okay, great, now we're ready to go. It works in any market. The digital space is very much that, only it's always been SEO. It's
Yeah.
been social media. AI kind of threw a wrench in all of that stuff, and SEO at the same time has kind of thrown a wrench in it too. Not so much that those things don't exist, but um, the landscape is completely different. Like
Right.
where your visibility is, it's all internet, but how you get there and how you get in front of that ideal target, that changes a lot. And so we speak to that quite a bit, and we work in that space.
How do you think AI will change that? Not just now, but over the next couple of years. How do you think that landscape changes with AI taking on more of a presence?
Well, right this minute, which isn't very forward looking, it's everybody's kind of looking at it as an easy button for composition. They write and thinking that, well, I'm gonna have AI write and articles that, if you really think about it, it's articles that AI reads and publishes and indexes, and so that's kind of this sort of circular thing that's going on that's new. But what really is going to happen, I think, and we're already seeing it. So in search, about within the next year, maybe the next year and a half, probably about half of actual search terms are going to be an AI result of some sort rather than just organic listings. We already know. We've already got the data on it. We're using the term more and more as an answer engine. These
Yeah.
are language models, and people are speaking to various devices, or they're working within search and information very conversationally, which was a relatively new thing. Which I predicted quite a few years ago, actually. But the difference now is it is almost like no difference. It's sort of what the internet did a long time ago, where everybody rushed to the internet, and now they're just keyword, keyword, keyword.
Yeah.
And business fundamentals kind of went out the window, and they had to kind of come back and say, well, eventually you might be able to reach a lot of people, or you've got an audience that is this big, but in order to actually turn them into your customers and your livelihood and hopefully relationships,
Yeah.
takes all the things that made you a good business on the street corner are the things that make you a good business digitally. And you can't just easy button keywords and grow your company. Same thing with AI. It's not any different. There's some opportunities out there that didn't exist before, and now everybody's going, well, write me an article. But the landscape, ultimately, I think it's going to, and we're seeing it come back to those businesses that provide good fundamentals, where they call. I can't tell you how many, Jill can, how many customers we get because we're the only company that called back.
Yeah.
And
Calls
it
back.
happens all the time.
They
So
thank me for calling them back, and then I always say I'm old school. I'd like to meet in person. I think you need to know who you're working with, and they're shocked and excited that they got a call back and they get to meet in person somewhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's more and more what I'm seeing is I'm seeing people respond with a Calendly link and just saying, hey, thanks for the inquiry. Yeah. And I'm sitting here going, well, I mean, this is my business spends upwards of $100,000 a month. And so some of my purchases are not tiny purchases. And to get here's a 15-minute button, go ahead and get on my calendar. I'm like, I would really appreciate a phone call with a real quick, hey, what's the issue you're facing? Yes, that's exactly how we can fix that. This is how we fix that. Listen, we need to spend more time than I have right now. Would it be okay if we got together next week? Blah, blah, blah. And to Joe's point, I think that AI is, and I'm seeing it in my industry, and it starts at the basic level of agents going, yes, I love AI. It writes all of the remarks for my listings. To I have an AI agent that texts. I have one that is voice. It's integrated into my CRM. So it can get pretty advanced. And again, to your point, Joe, I don't think it's going to be 12 to 18 months before it really comes in and allows people to stop doing the things that got them to their level of success. They will see it as inexpensive leverage, which is what it is. But I believe a lot of them are going to lean too heavily on it. And what they'll end up doing is they'll end up losing their own voice. And then the customer will just be confused because there's
they
a
also
bunch of them out there. Go
you
ahead,
lose
Jill.
the relationships too if you're not connecting, if you're not keeping the connection with people. That's what's missing
Right.
too, is everybody wants to throw you online. Go to my website, like you said, go book something on Calendly. No, I want to meet in person. Like, I don't want to talk via text all the time. I don't just want to email. I want to see you in person and establish the relationship. I will say that's one, through all the changes, marketing, digital marketing, and everything. Joe and I have been in business together 15, 16 years,
long time.
a long time. For Joe, it's like dog years.
It's like
Anyway,
long time.
Long time.
really a long time.
Right. Just give me the signal, Joe, and I'll come get you.
So, but over the years, things have changed a ton, and and COVID and everything, and we've seen customer service all the way across the board just take a giant nosedive.
Yeah.
That you go in and order at McDonald's at a kiosk. You don't even get to talk to the people anymore. And so really here, we are really focused on relationships, and we work very hard to stay in touch with and get in front of And we insist on a meeting to get to know each other. I just think
Oh,
it's critical, and it's what makes a difference, and why over the years with all the changes in marketing and a lot of different agencies going out of business, we've been able to survive because we care and we stay in touch.
let's follow that trail because I'm a big believer in an initial meeting, and I want it to be face to face. We do have clients that are out of state that are selling homes that are located in Reno, and we'll take Zooms. But let's set the listener up for that. So the beginning of a relationship, somebody somehow raises their hand and say, "Hey, I'm a potential client." Um, you set an initial meeting, you sit them down, you're face to face. What what are the goals of that meeting? What do you how does that meeting go for you?
My goal in all of those initial meetings is I really just want to get to know this person. I want to
Mm,
know them as a person, and I want to understand their business and the things that are important to them from their perspective. I'll do my research on the business before I go and try to figure out who this person is, but really it's like, tell me about you. Tell me about your business. What are you looking to do? How can I help you? I look at it, Mike, almost like it's a first date. Let's get to know each other.
yeah,
Let's make sure we get along, that what you're looking for, that I've got a service that can help you, and that I or OCG, we feel like we're a fit for you, because we want this to be a long relationship. We're not in it for the quick, how much money can I make off this client and move on. It's like I want a long-term relationship. I want to enjoy working with you for
right.
years to come.
Yeah. No, I like that. I like that. Joe?
My goal is to understand first what I use this term. In fact, I ask this question very often. Is I say, well, if you a successful marketing effort or promotional effort in general, because
Mhm.
marketing and you have some idea in mind. What is different about your business 6 months and a year from now that you don't have right now? Because if they can answer that question, then we have a very clear idea about what their goals are. They may be thinking, well, I have no clients at all, or I've got a 10% year over year. Even more, by asking what's different, it's maybe I have a better quality of client. Maybe I'm trying to brush into a market that I haven't been able to penetrate. Maybe there's something that's bigger than that. And then the way I'm wired, I'm constantly trying to convert that into kind of digital speak and figure out, what can I quantify? How do I break that down into a whole series of steps that lead toward that goal? And the other thing is, the client's telling us, okay, this is what we're going to judge you on. So
Yeah.
it's a lot easier for us to get in and do the right things right away than to say, well, here's our menu and we're just going to start stabbing away at all this stuff. We get a lot closer to the right outcome sooner.
I like that. And it reminded me of a conversation. Well, it's not even a conversation. We're in the fourth quarter of 2025, and we so we're a coaching company, and coaching companies turn to their students in the fourth quarter and say, let's start working on next year. What are our goals? What are we going to do? How many units are we going to sell? How many, all that stuff. So we do that. And as part of that, we do a 1 year and we do a 5 year vision, which is, what does your life look like? What does your business look like? And that tends to be the time where we really get to know, like, what you're really doing is you're saying, if you could dream, what does your business look like in 6 months? And then if they can be clear on that, you're helping them reverse engineer that down to, okay, what do we need to start doing right now? Does that sound right?
Mhm.
That's exactly it. That's
Exactly.
exactly it. It's better than I said it, but yeah.
No, it, it's a, I think that's the way I think that's the way you build relationships. I mean,
Mhm.
in all honesty, is if we could, it goes back to what Jill said. I ask a lot of questions. I ask a lot of questions. Like, what do you want to, where do you want to be? Who do you want to be? What do you want? What does life look like? If right now is perfectly fine, then just keep doing the same things you're doing. but people don't go to you and go, hey, everything's perfectly fine. Can you just keep us the same place? People come to you and say, we need our message to reach more people. We want more clients. We want to, we want to grow, things like that. So you're really in an optimal place to encourage them to dream and dream big, because we have a tendency to make our future goals based on our past performance, which is a limiting belief. Are there other questions that you may interject into the conversation that you've seen people go, oh shoot, Joe, that's a great idea, I never thought about that. Wow, I guess if we could do
Uh,
that, that would be really neat.
There are, yeah, I mean, questions come up. Of course, we need to know very specific things about the industry that they're in. We want to know, in as concise a terms as possible, who the customer is.
Hmm.
We can talk about, well, I sell these and I sell these and I sell these, but really, who do you sell them to and why do they buy it? So, getting out to that side, because, you know, marketing isn't the pitcher, it's about the catcher. It's really about the batter. And so we're always looking to understand the company from the perspective of who wants to buy that thing. And you may discover that there's market opportunities that aren't even that particular path. And so yeah, everything surrounds it. And then as we have discussions, they go all over the place. But in my mind, the way using the term reverse engineering, I love that. Saying, look, here's your life X period down the road, and let's go and see what elements that we touch, and then we can start charting a path to that. And it's tough. In our case, we never even get to answer the questions sometimes because we're in this crazy, spam world where we don't get to talk to anybody who hasn't already gotten 30 emails today trying to sell allegedly what we sell. And so in order to get and have that discussion, and we're not selling that, we're in a completely different space. And we're, I don't want to say it, but we're pretty darn affordable.
Yeah.
And so, to not have that discussion with people because some spammer gets a call and has, some AI tool that's supposed to be a
Right.
magic button, it just doesn't
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. Yeah. For just $9.99, you can get my logo creator.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And sometimes it's good enough,
Get
if
your
you're
brand kit.
personal,
Yeah.
yeah. But
No, that's
mostly, no, we need, if we can get, because we're very, very immersed in technology, the engineering stuff that we have going on here, nobody, like it's shocking. I won't get into it, but I'm really into it. So I could go down that cliff in a
yeah.
heartbeat.
No, that's we'll do another
Um,
half hour on that.
but yeah, really just that understanding is so, so critical. And wherever the conversations go that get us there, I'm willing to have, but I'm always kind of quantifying it and trying to break it down into stair steps and numbers
Yeah.
while we
Yeah. I
talk
mean,
about it.
ultimately that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
A client wants a plan.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think too, Joe, a question that we use a lot is like, why you? Right? I've got. We all have choices, so people ask all the time, well, why should I hire you? I get
Yeah.
gazillion digital marketing agencies, so it's a question we kind of ask clients too. What is it about you and your company, your service, your product, whatever it might be? Why you? And there's a reason we all started a business. There's a reason we do what we do. And that usually gets people excited. Well, why me? Because I've got, worked under my grandfather and my dad for 30 years. I've got a ton of experience. I'm passionate about it. That's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
I want to know why. You have a construction company, but why do you have it? Why you? Why should I work with you?
Right.
So that's where I just feel like we take the time to get to know our clients and build a relationship versus just making it all transactional.
Yeah. No, I think that's the key. And that's the key to building a strong business, especially a referral based business, which I think that's the easiest way to defeat AI searches for somebody in your market that does your thing, is to have relationships and to
Mhm.
have somebody
Absolutely.
hear somebody go, oh, you're looking for somebody to help you with your marketing. Well, you should call Jill. She's a friend of mine. Let me text and put you guys in touch. And then Jill actually makes a phone call and says, hey, I hear you're looking for this. Can we sit down for a few minutes? right? There's the lead generation's one thing, but conversion's a totally different thing. And if
Mhm.
you don't recognize that the two are different, then you've already lost to AI. I mean, sorry.
You have.
Yeah.
And if you're letting AI respond to all of your lead generation, that's
Yeah,
where
yeah.
well,
With
So
the calendar link.
yeah.
yes, with the exact, you got to have the Calendly link. If somebody wanted to have a conversation with one of the two of you, how would they find you?
So I do most of the sales. Joe is the behind the scenes brains, you obviously here. So if you are interested in a conversation with OCG about marketing, I'd love for you to reach out to me at Jill at ocgcreative.com. You can also call my cell direct 775-843-2215, and I'm happy to meet with you as soon as you're available.
I love that. I love that. So if you guys are watching, you're listening, and you think branding is something that your business needs, and you'd like to at least have a conversation about it, what it looks like, and what they could do for you, reach out to them. Joe, Jill, thank you guys so much. I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a
Thank you.
wonderful day.
Happy Friday.
Thank you.
You
Thank
got it.
you again. This was just wonderful. Thanks for the opportunity. We
You
appreciate it.
got it.